Outback Queensland is the land of endless Mitchell grass and scrub plains, stretched out under the infinite blue sky. The area extends over 860,000 square kilometres, nearly 4 times the size of the UK. Visitors have to be prepared to travel vast distances between locations. Whoever thinks that the Outback has nothing more to offer than a few stunted gum trees, dust and flies is mistaken. There is so much more to see. Join us on our trip as we take you to many interesting places. Find an oasis in the otherwise barren landscape. We visit sheep and cattle stations. Venture underground with the opal miners, admire amazing wildlife, and step back into the time of the dinosaurs. A very cold morning finds us camping by a small creek. As a matter of fact, the thermometer shows just 2 degrees. To escape the southern winter, we're heading to sunny Queensland. The prickly pear cactus reached Australia's shores together with the first settlers. Minute insects on the cactus leaves are producing red colour. It was used to dye the British soldiers' red coats. Unfortunately, the cactus acclimatised extremely well and has overrun large sections of the country. Great care needs to be taken whilst harvesting the cactus fruit. Like the leaves, the fruit are covered with hundreds of tiny prickles. The slightly tart flesh can be used to make jelly, cordial, or ice cream. In this instance, the pulp has been added to the breakfast muesli. The Matilda Highway starts at the border to Queensland. In Cunnamulla, we find the Cunnamulla fella, immortalising the many young men working on the land. Rainy weather greets us upon entering Queensland proper. Not only the farmers, but also the wildlife welcomes a break after the long drought. One of the many sounds of the bush is the screeching of the cockatoos. Large areas of the land are flooded since the dry earth is unable to absorb the sudden glut of water. For this animal, the rain has arrived too late. A group of the flightless emus are enjoying some fresh young shoots. Everything gets bogged in the bottomless quagmire. Despite the rain, fences have to be repaired to prevent cattle wandering onto the road. The sun appears in time for our lunch break. Apostle birds, or happy jacks, are cleaning up the leftovers. The bilby belongs to the bandicoot family and grows to approximately the size of a rabbit. They used to live in about 70% of mainland Australia. Now the animal has disappeared from nearly all its former range and is considered an endangered species. As with all marsupials, female bilbies have a pouch. It opens backwards, thus preventing dirt entering while digging. During the day, the animal shelters in underground burrows that protect them from the scorching sun and predators. At night, they forage for plant seed, fruits, bulbs, and also insects and spiders. Our camp lies on the edge of a billabong. We do not mind sharing the beautiful spot with the many water birds. However, the scorpion, which we find hidden amongst the firewood, is not welcome. Early next morning, we wake up to the road trains thundering past on the highway. We also have to hit the road. Large flocks of cockatoos can be a menace to freshly planted crops. Agatella, another small town along the Matilda highway, seems to have some artists in residence. A good sense of humour is equally apparent. In the semi-arid heart of Queensland, Carnarvon Gorge represents an amazing oasis. Carnarvon Creek always flows, even when it has not rained for many months. Visitors wanting to explore the national park can stay at Takaraka Bush Camp. We sleep in our little tent, although a more luxurious variety can be rented. The large open-air kitchen makes life easier for campers. Over 170 species of birds populate the park. Heaven for birdwatchers. It is believed that some of the slow-growing cycads are 1,000 years old. Birds like to feast on the hard shell of the poisonous fruit. The Aboriginals knew how to prepare the fruit to make it palatable, even for human consumption. Rangers are happy to share their extensive knowledge of the park and its inhabitants. To truly discover the remarkable place, there are 20 kilometres of walking tracks leading through the gorge and its side arms. Only people that are reasonably fit should climb Bulimba Bluff. The best time to tackle the ascent is in the early morning. permanent water supports a mosaic of habitats, home to an amazing diversity of living things. Aboriginal people often describe the Carnarvon as a place of learning, an area of great spirituality. Snake-necked turtles can be observed in the river shallows. The art gallery represents some of the finest rock imagery in Australia. Ochre mixed with saliva has been sprayed over hands and everyday items used as stencils. Numerous petroglyphs symbolize a fertility symbol. The sandstone cliffs absorb water and act as a giant sponge. A relic of the rainforest that once covered vast expanses of Australia can be found in Ward Canyon. Here, Queensland's only colony of king fern flourishes. Sediment of leaf and plant matter colours the stones in the rivulet. Continuous weathering and running water carved the 60-metre high walls of the amphitheatre. Four months prior to our visit, a flash flood caused extensive damage in the gorge. It will take many years for the flora and fauna to recover. Echidnas feed on termites, which have taken up residence in the fallen timber. None of the 15 species of python existing in Australia are poisonous. Quinine berries make a very good bush medicine. They can be taken to treat malaria symptoms and against toothache. Aboriginals even use them as birth control. Rainbow lorikeets with their spectacular plumage are found all along the eastern seaboard. To observe a truly unique animal, an early rise is essential. It takes a lot of patience and a bit of good luck to spot the extremely elusive platypus. Like 85% of Australia's wildlife, the animal is nocturnal. During the daytime, it hides in its well-camouflaged burrow under the riverbank. A relic from the time of the dinosaurs, the mammal is covered in fur, lays eggs, but suckles its young. The platypus reaches a size of about 50 centimetres and weighs up to 2.5 kilograms. Some of Australia's oil fields lie in the Cooper Basin. Oil donkeys pump the crude from deep underground. A total of 560,000 barrels a day are being produced on Australian soil. This, however, is not enough to satisfy the demand of the country. A large percentage still has to be imported. We make it just in time for the wedge-tail eagle's breakfast. To ensure not being disturbed, the bird drags the entire kangaroo behind the bushes. Since 1880, when the region was topographically measured, everything lying west of the Black Stump is considered outback. In the heart of sheep country in Blackall stands a statue of the famous shearer Jackie Howe. Equipped with his hand cutters, it took him only 8 hours to take the fleece of 320 sheep. His record still stands today. Before helping with the herding of the sheep, the 9-year-old farmer's son gives us a sample of his capabilities as a motorbike rider. We are on Dunraven, a sheep station which extends over 26,000 hectares, or 260 square kilometres. He has some growing up to do before he can join the workforce. To save on time and staff, gathering the sheep and herding is often done on motorbikes. Merinos spend all year round in the bush and are only brought in to be shorn. Well-trained dogs are great helpers. They gather the animals in the paddock and drive them up the ramp into the shearing shed. Shearers are paid per animal shorn. They are in fierce competition with each other to earn the title of Top Gun. Equipped with modern clippers, it takes the workers less than a minute per beast. To save their backs and knees, the men are hanging in a kind of harness. Despite these measures, shearing is hard work, and a smoko is frequently called. Roustabouts take the fleece to the sorting table. Dirty pieces are discarded and the wool is classed according to its grade. In the press, the wool is compressed into bales weighing 200 kilograms. The bales are ready to be taken away, but for now they serve as a sitting area during the lunch break. Approximately 21,000 merinos are being run on Dunraven. It takes at least 1 hectare per sheep for them to survive on the sparse vegetation. Everybody is made welcome in Barcaldine. For locals and visitors alike, the place is an important hub on the Matilda Highway. He is guarding the car and its load while his mistress enjoys some time out. The Tree of Knowledge saw the Great Shearers' Strike in 1890. Here, the men protested against poor working conditions and low wages. This and similar actions led to the foundation of Australia's labour union. The spirit of the Outback connects Brisbane on the coast with Longreach. Just twice a week, the train travels the distance of 1,000 kilometres. In many places, water from the Great Artesian Basin is being pumped to the surface. People swear by the rejuvenating powers of the minerals in the water. Whoever does not fancy a swim can admire antique farming machinery across the road. The bouncer of the local hotel enjoys a break. To go by the unusual decoration in the bar, many patrons are leaving the bar not only legless, but also hatless. Australia ranges amongst the world's 10 biggest suppliers of cotton. Due to diseases and the drought, cotton production has declined considerably over the last few years. Researchers are in the process of developing plants resistant to various pests and also able to tolerate extended drought. The collector drives to the harvester out in the field to collect a load of cotton seeds. In the compressing unit, the fibres are being shaped into modules, each weighing 14 tons. After harvesting the entire field, the modules are transported to the cotton gin, where the cleaning and spinning of the fibre takes place. Longreach is the gateway to the outback and has a population of about 4,000 people. The adventurous spirit is well and truly alive in the confines of the Stockman's Hall of Fame. A tribute to the pioneers, it shares the story of the people in a harsh land through displays in several galleries. The exhibition is laid out over 3 levels and gives an insight of everyday life in the country. A supermarket on wheels carried everyday necessities to far-flung properties and settlements. To transport wool bales, however, a much sturdier wagon was required. Telephone and telegraph eased the tyranny of isolation in the outback. The display also examines what bush people did and still do in their leisure time. Here, the courageous men and women on the land, be it in the past or present, receive their well-deserved recognition. Visible in the distance is another icon of the outback, the Qantas Founders Museum. Flying Kangaroo, that's how Australians like to call their own airline. The only Boeing 747 ever having landed in Longreach is now permanently grounded and can be visited. Qantas stands abbreviated for Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Services. Visitors to the building can closely follow the interesting history of Australia's airline. Hudson Fysh established the company in the year 1920, making Qantas the world's second oldest airline. The flying machines made it possible to conquer the enormous distances in the outback. One of the first aeroplanes built by Qantas was the Avro. In the past, travelling during the rainy season was impossible. Now, however, one can simply fly over obstacles. For some time, even John Flynn, the founder of the Royal Flying Doctor Service, used the services of the fledgling company. Both uniforms and planes have undergone big transformations since then. Qantas was the only airline in the world that used to build its own aircraft. A most interesting fact is that within just 50 years, Qantas went from having flights with 4 passengers to flights with 400 passengers. This is one type of horsepower, and this is another one, reminiscent of the past. In days long gone, people often travelled by Copp&Co. The changing station was always an important part of the business landscape. Here in Longreach, the past has been brought back to life, and anyone can relive outback history with a ride in the authentic coach. People waiting for departure savour the atmosphere in the courtyard and relish morning tea. The cobbler shows off his work.
Now when the dust is settled and the crowds have all gone home, it's kind of sad to wander through the rodeo grounds alone. But we will all remember this year was a mighty show, and the folks are coming back again to the eyes of rodeo. To the eyes of rodeo.
Horses need to be shoed regularly. Richard gives the visitors a demonstration on forging horseshoes.
Make a lot.
14 passengers can be accommodated in the coach. The favoured seat in the house is obviously next to the driver. Early in the 18th century, Copp&Co began its services throughout the country. For many years, passengers, their luggage and also the mail was transported to remote settlements. The last stagecoach rattled along the tracks in 1924. During the leisurely drive through the commons, people enjoy the beauty of the bush and its inhabitants.
When they listen for the wheels of Copp&Co. But Copp&Co don't run the western line out here no more. Now there's only travellers and big
Bustards, wallabies and brolgers can sometimes be spotted.
But I often think about those days 100 years ago, when they strained to hear the wheels of Copp&Co. When they listened for the wheels of Copp&Co, for the rattling of the coaches on the rough and stony road, the thundering of the horses as they strained to reach their goal, where they waited for the lights of Copp&Co. Oh, it's hard to now imagine that this road was once a track, used by early settlers opening up the great Outback, when the lifeblood of the country were the drivers and their loads, and the rattling of the wheels of Copp&Co. But those days now have vanished like the passing sands of time. Now there's little to remind us of the years we've left behind. But I wonder where we'd be without those pioneers of old, and the rattling of the wheels of Copp&Co. When they listen for the wheels of Copp&Co, for the rattling of the coaches on the rough and stony road, the thundering of the horses as they strained to reach their goal, where they waited for the lights of Copp&Co.
One of the highlights of the trip is the spectacular gallop. Every day towards sunset, a paddle steamer cruises the mighty Thomson River. The Thomson is not a river as such, but merely a string of billabongs. none of the rivers of the Cooper Basin ever reaches the ocean. Either the water evaporates along the way, or in heavy floods, ends up in Lake Eyre that lays 1,000 kilometres southwest. During the wet, the river usually floods and covers the entire area with a huge sheet of water. After the boat trip, dinner can be had in the best hotel on the location. Norm keeps busy preparing sustenance for the 100 guests. On the menu is a 3-course meal consisting of beef stew, dessert and damper. Billy tea cooked over the open fire has its own special smoky flavour. He is unlikely to win a beauty contest, but the bulls next door have a much better chance.
From both the Boss Taurus and the Boss Indicus class.
The beasts on parade in front of the jury range amongst the finest.
Green Anderson, are you going over to the jumping event, please?
Besides first-class wool, the merinos are also providers of succulent cuts. Local tradespeople give a demo how to correctly prepare and cook the meat.
I've got this back strap here. If I had a bit of seasoning, I'd put a bit of pepper or something on it.
Even the residents of the chicken pen have something to crow about. Prizes won for the pick of the crop abound. High jumping on motorbikes concludes an eventful day for the visitors of the show. Winton is the birthplace of Australia's unofficial anthem. In the year 1895, the poet Banjo Paterson wrote the famous and well-known verse to the song Waltzing Matilda. More information about the swaggy and the ballad which eternalises him can be found in the Matilda Centre. The swag the men carried on their back was also called Matilda. With her they wandered or waltzed from station to station in search of employment. Very few of the workers were able to afford a bicycle. Most of the time, walking was the order of the day. This must be the most amazing wall far and wide. Arno, an eccentric Austrian, started recycling long before it became popular. Every imaginable item that broke was simply built into the wall surrounding his property. The first indication of the town's prehistoric past are the rubbish bins. Winton, Richmond and Hughenden form the dinosaur triangle. Hundreds of bones and other fossilised items have been found in the region. To see firsthand where the prehistoric animals once roamed, one has to drive the 100 kilometres out to Lark Quarry. At present we see an inhospitable semi-desert, but when the earth was younger it used to be a lush river valley. Here is the only place in the world where a dinosaur stampede took place. The building has been erected to protect the fragile imprints from the elements, wildlife and other damaging influences. Over several years, paleontologists dug up an area of more than 200 square metres. Thousands of footprints were discovered embedded in the rock. The imprints reflect the drama that took place eons ago. A herd of dinosaurs, ranging in size from chicken to emus, came to feed in the river flats. Waiting in ambush was a giant Carnosaurus. He unexpectedly pounced on the theropods. The herd scattered and fled in panic. In doing so, they left their footprints in the soft mud of the riverbank. The Muttabuttasaurus in the centre of Hughenden is of a more gentle disposition. His sustenance consists of plant matter. A complete skeleton of the same species stands in the visitor centre. Flying over the roof is a pterosaurus. Even the library cannot escape the general influx. Its wall boasts a scrap metal skeleton. Situated in Richmond, the Kronosaurus Centre specialises in marine fossils. In the laboratory, all the items discovered are being identified, catalogued and carefully preserved. The diversity of creatures that once populated the great inland lake is staggering and quite overwhelming. Visitors to the area are encouraged to do a bit of treasure hunting themselves. They keep finding all sorts of fossilised items. Some, like this boy, even discovered entire skeletons. On our drive to Matilda, we cross one of the many stock routes. Especially constructed wells provide much needed water for the herds being driven along. Both sides of the road are common land and can be used by anyone. Cattle from drought-stricken areas are being brought here. To prevent overgrazing, the beasts have to move about 10 kilometres per day. So-called wagonettes are the drovers' living and sleeping quarters. After a long, hard day's work, stockmen also enjoy some time out. In the oldest pub in the region, in Matilda, country music is provided together with some ice-cold beer. We continue our trip and are heading south towards Opalton, to the Opal Fields. While driving through the huge stations, dozens of gates separating the paddocks needed to be opened and closed. Arriving in Opalton, we encounter the first local, which is a thorny devil. He looks terrifying, but is completely harmless. In the outpost shop, local miners are able to purchase some necessities. A few simple structures in the bush park provide shelter from the sun and the wind. A bush toilet, appropriately named, graces the site as well. For machinery of this size, grand repairs are in order. There is a hydraulic oil leak that needs to be looked after. One can only wonder how long it takes to change a tyre on this monster. We follow the noise of the excavator and soon spot the machine hard at work. In this part of Queensland, the famous boulder opal can be found in ironstone. 95% of the world's finest opal is being dug in Australia's remote desert region. It's a mystery to us how Ralph knows where the shovel strikes opal-bearing rock. Later on, he explains to us that he can actually feel it. And furthermore, the sound of the metal on the rock changes. The sound must have been good. Ralph and his son Michael are thrilled to have found signs of colour. They have not discovered anything for the past 9 months.
Very good. Well, it's a good sign that there's opal around, especially when it starts coming in about that thick. It's always a good sign. And there's little traces of colour coming in there.
Yes.
Little bits of pink and red.
And how do you know how deep it is and whether it's any good?
Well, we're going to have to slice it in half anyway. You have to slice it down, break it down, see if there's anything else inside. And this is predominantly, of course, blue. It's mainly for specimens, and you can't really do too much with it, but it's a good indication that there's going to be more opal down there, especially when it comes in that thick.
While moving the corrugated sheets, a beautiful blackhead python makes an appearance.
Yeah.
Michael's camp consists of several caravans. Some serve as sleeping quarters, and the biggest one houses the kitchen and dining room. The water from this hole in the ground is only fit for showering and washing. Drinking water has to be fetched 100 kilometres away. Another form of mining is practiced on this claim. Shafts 20 metres deep gives access to the opal-bearing layers of rock. A little generator supplies the electricity. Elizabeth and Jackie have been mining opals for many years. Jackie explains to Peter the whole extent of the tunnels and shafts.
About 25 feet from the shaft.
A visit underground gives evidence of the hard work. All the excavated soil needs to be brought to the surface by means of a conveyor. Even the rubble needs to be sifted in case something valuable slipped through. This variety of opal has been found in sandstone, and the other in ironstone. Jackie's pride and joy has a market value of approximately $15,000. Back in Winton, we pay Theo, the opal cutter, a visit. We're interested to find out how he cuts the opal-bearing rock. Being a master in his profession, Theo knows exactly how to treat each individual piece to bring out the best colour.
Right.
You go from using tin outside,
Mm-hmm.
and you put it on.
The fire of the opal originates through the breaking of light on the layers of silica contained in the stone. Polishing brings out the full rainbow of colour in Australia's national stone. It is the most colourful of all the gemstones.
Yeah.
The dazzling gems are now for sale in many upmarket jeweller shops all over the world. Another opal experience can be had in the St Finbarr's Church in Quilby. Opal-bearing rock adorns the altar, front and lectern. Little hills rising up out of the endless plains are called jump-ups. While roaming amongst the craggy rocks, we discover small bats hanging in one of the clefts. Australia's biggest lizard, the parenti, soaks up the warmth of the rocks. We, however, sit on top of the hill and marvel at another beautiful sunset over the savannah. Due to the infinitely large area over which cattle are scattered, helicopters are the preferred vehicle for mustering. Cattle spend all year round roaming the scrub. Animals are only herded to be tagged or for them to be sold. The men flying these choppers are first-class pilots, with some daredevil thrown in. They also need to be good stockmen. It is important to gather the animals efficiently and quickly. Rushing the beasts may cause stress which can result in death. On his farm northwest of Longreach, Richard breeds first-class Brahman cattle. He prefers to handle the animals the old-fashioned way, namely on horseback. It is difficult to obtain personnel, therefore the entire family needs to help. Farmers' children are able to ride even before they can walk. They make excellent junior stockmen. Richard and his horse, together with his trusty dogs, form a perfect team. Guided only by his whistling, the dogs know exactly what to do. After the dusty work, some refreshment is called for. A crowd starts to form to observe the action. At the corral, the mustering of the cattle is in full swing. The animals need to be separated and guided into different enclosures. Mud caught in the hoofs dries as hard as concrete and has to be removed from time to time. Someone's in a bad mood and needs to be treated with caution. The cattle are not used to being kept in an enclosure. All the newborn calves, but also the cattle that have been sold, receive another tag in their ears. A couple of road trains arrive on time to collect the beasts. Each of the trailers has 2 decks, and each deck takes between 30 to 50 animals. Fully loaded, the trucks are ready to go. They will join the thousands of road trains distributing cargo in all the corners of the wide land. Some of the cattle are being sent to the weekly held auction. Following a thorough inspection by the buyers, the bidding begins.
20, finished. 10, mate. Number 10, AB 10. Hurry with a 1. Hey, good enough. Easy boy. 34, 5, 35.
The animal sells per kilogram, and the farmers are very good at judging their approximate weight.
140 this way, sir. 141, 141, 41. I'll part about it. 1 be quick done.
Marking with a paint roller means sold, and the sale price is noted immediately. Once the animals pass the scale, the total price appears on the digital display. Outside the gate, road trains are on the ready for pickup. Most children growing up on stations live too far away from any town to attend class.
All they do now is sit around and rot. And then
The School of the Air fills the gap and gives the girls and boys the opportunity to obtain an education. Visitors are welcome to attend class.
Because it's just like we're doing potatoes and it's capped potatoes.
Okay, so is there anything else that we should add in that particular part for Super Spud? Or do you think that is enough for him to cover...
Perhaps the seniors wish to absorb something as well.
I think that would be enough for him to put in. That you mentioned a few things that needed to be put in. Now, at the bottom of your script, you'll see we've written in that there's 2 sections or 2 parts that we still need to demonstrate from our criteria sheet. Take potatoes completely off the menu. We need to stress that and say that in our speech.
Well, you sort of get like under a bit of pressure, so you just take the easiest way out, Miss Hamilton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. How can we show
Connected to the teaching personnel via a radio transmitter, the children work through a normal curriculum. New material is mailed out to them on a regular basis. The students are learning as much as their counterparts in a normal education situation.
Okay, we'll put that in there for the moment. So we're adding this to which part, Mandy? Where's the chef's hat talking?
Straight after each book says.
Porcupine Gorge belongs to a group of remote and virtually undeveloped national parks. The only existing footpath leads down into the gorge, to the base of the Pyramid Rock. Over thousands of years, the river carved its bed through the soft sandstone. At night, visitors arrive in our camp. The Rufous Betong is the biggest kangaroo rat and stands about 40 centimetres tall. It lives in a range of forest types and feeds on grass roots and stems. In the cooler part of the year, various species of the grevillea grace the bush. Winton's annual camel race and rodeo takes place this weekend. During the daytime, it's quiet in Australia's only remaining boxing tent. The action starts at nighttime. Which one to choose is difficult given the large variety of belt buckles. Bulls, horses and camels are waiting for their assignment. The Bedouins have been racing camels for thousands of years. In Australia, however, it's still a fairly uncommon sport.
So anything can happen when the gun fires and the camels start to race here at Wits today. Watch out as we go around now.
On the way to the starting point, we discover that young women are riding the camels. The reason behind this is the lighter weight of the females. An ambulance is on attendance, just in case.
Right, I'm going.
Although the prize money is not great, the girls and their beasts give their best.
We have into the finish there. They pull the camels up the end, but without a doubt, there'll be job done there by none other than one of the greatest, probably with Kelly Sloan, trained by Roman Tubac. So the winners today.
In a country where dogs are valued as good workers, the dog high jump attracts a fair crowd. After every jump, the stake gets a little bit higher. Yep. This guy obviously belongs to a very smart variety of canines. Finally, this cattle dog wins the challenge with a jump of 2.5 metres. After sundown, a raucous crowd gathers in front of the boxing tent. Volunteers among the visitors are invited to fight with the in-house boxers. The fight is not taken too seriously. The main purpose is the fun to be had for both participants and spectators. Besides boxing, wrestling is also on the program. The next day sees us at the rodeo, which is normally held during the winter months. Cowboys from all over the country have arrived to participate and show off their skills. Only the wildest bulls are chosen for the ride.
out, young Indian cowboy. He goes out across the arena, sits up there, watch him there for 8 seconds. Got him out across the arena there, do a right on him. Well, come on, we can put your hands together for the young cowboy. In front of the cowboy, and I'll tell you what, he's to get pushed right up on that road, ladies and gentlemen, because when you first come out of the chute, there's a big blast that blows you back with great no line, got a ball on his right feet. Starts to bring him around the corner now, and he's doing a ball out on him too. Get him in a trouble there and goes for his lap. Well, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for that young cowboy because... I know we move down the blue chute now. They said, yes, Matthew, where you got him out from my now, cowboy starts to get in amongst him. Whoa, comes around sharp on the cowboy.
It takes a lot of skill and is not easy to stay on the beast for the required 8 seconds. Injuries can sometimes not be avoided and are part and parcel of the sport. He will almost certainly be sore for a couple of days. One of the young riders fell badly, and now the ambulance is needed. The grown-ups have done their bit. Now it's the juniors' turn.
She's the prettiest bull rider I ever did see. Her riders in a bit of trouble, she's still up there. She's doing, she's no hands, Mum. No feet, but she's still there. Mum, give me the gate. Wade Walker comes out now, starts to ride. Look at him, he's got a problem on, he sits up. He's winning, he's put the job on out across the... Dion Frau still to come.
A lot of enthusiasm makes up for the lack of know-how.
Oh, Jack Emerson from Brighton Downs. Here's the Brighton Downs cowboy. Oh, look out. Oh, he's out. He's in trouble now. He's in the well. He's in the well. Oh, scary. Straight hands together for a little bull rider. A little cowboy go the distance. Out the side. Puts him across the arena. Mitchie's clothing. He's got a wild one. And sitting up there doing a good job too. Oh, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, put you. He can hear you now. Oh, look at the little bull rider, dude.
After a job well done, the horses are led out to graze. Would you believe he's teaching the horse to reverse park? The stockmen also call it a day and meet at the river for a camp-out. Dinner's already bubbling away on the fire. In the serene environment, the day's events are once more discussed.
Where the
Sitting around the campfire in the company of some true blue cowboys, we gain a deeper appreciation of Queensland's outback.
Where the muddy waters of the Cooper flow. Where the muddy waters of the Cooper flow.
But it wouldn't have went back to sleep.
You was laid awake all night.
No.
That's the best sleep I've had. Had a camp in a while.
Sorry?
It's a one you did with all the snoring.
I don't even know how they do it. Don't know. I'm not going to practice while everyone's watching anyway.
The kids are going out there fishing on.
Oh, that's too hot.
Even there, and you go out in the morning, there's no tracks, no grass being pushed over, no nothing.
No, very environmentally friendly.
Now we're used to unusual things you have to go to now.